Hey guys, welcome back to No Content. How's it going? It's me, Ryan28. That's Pixel 34.
Yeah, still
Yeah,
34.
I got it right. I always think between 34 to 36 for some reason. Anyway, what's
36.
I don't know. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode. Yeah, we're post E3 Blues, I guess.
Yeah.
We kind of have everything announced, and now it's just time to get those games in our hands. Start playing them, with most of them not being able to be played until 2020.
I know, right?
So feels bad, man, for sure. But yeah, I don't know. I say this every episode, but kind of don't really have anything planned. Just kind of random topics that are coming to our heads on the fly. So hope you guys enjoy the episode as always.
Yeah, we're just gonna shoot from the hip, like we
Yeah,
always
for
do.
sure, for sure, for sure. First thing I actually kind of wanted to talk about that we didn't really talk about last week. Did you hear that Blizzard actually, I guess, there's some leaks coming out of Blizzard about what's up next in their pipeline, as well as they canceled a game? I don't know if you heard about this recently or whatever.
I've heard like musings. I've heard like nothing solid. It's just like unconfirmed, unreliable sources. But yeah,
Yeah.
what's going on?
Apparently this happened actually like a little bit ago, June 8th or whatever, but it was kind of like in the middle of the E3 madness or whatever. But it says that Blizzard was reportedly working on another shooter set in the StarCraft universe, but the project was canceled in favor of a rumored Diablo 3 and Overwatch 2. Apparently, one of the developers who was apparently working on this planned game tweeted out basically hey guys, today's my last day at Blizzard. Unfortunately, a project I've been working on for the last 5 years is not coming to fruition and has been canceled. I'm going to be leaving the company today and going to somewhere else. So apparently the project was codenamed Aris, and sources described it as like Battlefield in the StarCraft universe. The development team had reportedly built prototypes in which players taking on the role of Titan Marines took down Zerg enemies. There was also plans to allow players to switch roles and play as part of the Zerg.
Interesting.
Aris entered development in 2017 as Blizzard's attempt at StarCraft using the Overwatch engine. One source who saw the state of the project last year said that development was slow, but a second source said that it shut down a couple of weeks ago was a massive shock. The third source said that the game was looking quite good at the time of its cancellation. Yeah, apparently there were no layoffs due to the decision. Just there was restructuring within the company, and apparently the guy who was kind of in charge was just decided to voluntarily leave. I don't think he was actually let go or anything. So I retract that last statement. But apparently, Diablo 4, which has been in development since 2015, is something that has been worked on. Now the thing is that a bunch of other sources have kind of come out after this article, and they kind of said but by the way, there's no major releases for Blizzard this year. So they may announce Diablo 4 at BlizzCon or an quote-unquote Overwatch 2 at BlizzCon, but there's no sources saying there's no actual game being released this year, probably besides Warcraft Classic and then the Warcraft 3 remake, I would assume.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that they would announce Overwatch 2 before Diablo 4.
So yeah, so here's the thing: is that's just what people are calling it, and that's what just people are calling it. I don't know if it's actually going to be called Overwatch 2, but apparently what it is it's kind of like an off-brand of Overwatch, kind of like how Hearthstone was an offshoot or off-brand of World of Warcraft, right? It was a card, so it's like using the same type of IP, but it's not necessarily there's two schools of thought in this. One of them is that Overwatch 2 is just going to be a very big, massive update to the original Overwatch game. So instead of coming out where it was StarCraft 1 and then StarCraft 2, Overwatch 2 would just be this gigantic patch that kind of restructures or re-overhauls all of Overwatch. And they kind of call it Overwatch 2, kind of like what they did with Heroes of the Storm, I guess would be a great example, where there was Heroes of the Storm and then 2.0. That's what some people are saying it's going to be. The other school of thought is that this is an entirely new game because there's been rumors that Blizzard's been heavily testing PvE content. So this would be a totally separate game like an offshoot of Overwatch or whatever that would have like just like horde modes and PvE storyline type of content, because remember Overwatch is just like a shooter, like multiplayer
Yeah,
only.
yeah. Yeah, because like Overwatch has this huge universe. There's so much lore for that I'm surprised that they won't explore that. Like it seems
Yeah.
like it's a perfect breeding ground for a single player game, like a story based game.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, yeah, it's actually, I'm actually really surprised when they announced it. They were like, yeah, we're going to be telling stories through different ways. And, there's only so much you can get from 30 to 40 seconds when you're in the countdown for before a game starts in a
Yeah,
team brawling type of
exactly.
shooter. They've done a couple of
Right.
comics, I think. They've done a couple of like YouTube videos. Like, I actually really surprised that, I don't know, maybe budget cuts or restructuring, but I'm actually really surprised they haven't come out with those like remember those like really cool Overwatch origin stories?
Yeah, they kind of slowed down
Yeah, like the
with
the last one I think was McCree last year, and then that was it.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, like it takes a really long time for these things to be made, so I'm not surprised. Maybe they're just kind of like refocusing and doing other things.
Yeah, I don't know. So I don't know. Man, here's the thing. I just want a good action RPG, dude, and I'm so desperate. I'm gonna give this Minecraft Dungeons a chance. Like I just love those type of games, but the problem with the game industry is that they all want to become a service. You know what
Mm,
I mean? And
yeah, we touched on it
it's
before.
hard to monetize those type of games.
Right, right.
Unless you go like a PoE style where it's like your character's really ugly and you have to pay for transmog. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of.
Right, yeah, because like it's essentially turning it into a drug. It's like forcing you to pay money so that you don't feel bad.
Mm-hmm.
So it's I don't like those models, honestly. It's better for the game, for the environment, just to if you offer something that the players that make the players happy instead of like giving that negative feeling of paying when you feel bad or that you feel bad if you don't pay.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I wholeheartedly agree, but man, I hope Diablo. Man, I don't know. I hope Diablo 4 is pretty good.
I hope so too. Like it's I don't know. I mean, I know it's going to be like graphically beautiful,
Yeah, I don't care
but
about that. But I
it's
just
going to
want
be a
gameplay,
while.
dude. I just want good
Yeah,
gameplay. I mean, you've played Diablo 3 recently with me, actually, on and off stream. What did you
yeah.
think about it? I mean, you played for about a month. I mean, I will
Mm.
say the state of Diablo 3, it's pretty good now. It sucks it has no real support. It's like it's clear you could clearly tell like Blizzard doesn't care about it. You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah. Like it's a fun little mindless game if you just kind of like want to play and blow stuff up.
Mhm.
Like it's fun just to see the carnage and stuff, and you actually do feel like you're really powerful.
Mhm.
And that's like the cool thing about Diablo is that you can face hundreds of these monsters and you come out unscathed. Like
Mhm.
that's the cool thing about it. Like so I had fun for it, but for a while, but after like a month, I feel like I just got my fill of it and
Yeah.
I was ready to move on,
Yeah,
you
I
know?
feel like that's a lot of like the times for me too, is like every time I come back it's like, okay, like this is fun for like a couple of weeks or whatever, which is really sad because like historically Diablo has been like one of the only games that I can consistently like play for like a long period of time. Like I think some of my longest streams, if not the longest streams I've
Mhm.
had, have been Diablo.
Yeah, wow.
Like 6, 7, 8 hours because it's such a fun game to just like play.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But then
it
it
keeps you
sucks.
engaged.
Yeah, it sucks that it just doesn't have any support, man.
Right. Yeah, it
So
kind of feels like it's like well, I'd say it's on the level of like Heroes of the Storm. Actually, you know what? No, Heroes has actually more support because it actually gets new stuff.
yeah, Heroes has like they get like Heroes gets a lot of like mini events. I don't know like how the balance is in that game, but
Mhm.
I don't know, man. I can't do hero. I unfortunately can't do Heroes anymore as well. Um, I think just because I played it too much, but there's just like
Yeah.
I feel like core like there's thing. So here's my take, right? When you start complaining about things in a game that are kind of like inherently like the foundation of the game, I think that's when is a good indicator that it's time to move on
Mm,
with a game. You know what I
sure.
mean?
No, I agree with that.
There's always things that the developers can change and stuff like that, and I feel like some of those things like have been some of those changes like developers can rectify some of those issues,
Hmm.
with the game to keep it more engaging and stuff like that. But then if you can't get past like foundational things, then it's really hard to keep playing. And I feel like that's what Heroes was to me.
Yeah. No, I
Um,
agree with that. There's a lot of things in Heroes that while it was fun at the beginning, I felt like it was detrimental to the experience all and like when all was said and done. Like,
hmm,
just the constant team fighting, it felt like just a brawler. It just kind of like, okay, it's just all about fighting, fighting, fighting.
right.
And it felt like there was less strategic thought that went into a fight.
Hmm.
So I don't know. It was yeah, it just wasn't my kind of game, honestly.
Yeah, I think my
Yeah.
issues with the game ended up being that um I think the shared level thing, while it makes sense at times, I feel like that was really 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 bad or whatever, because that
Mhm.
really did affect the whole of the game when it came to like, I don't know, just like you're only as strong as your weakest person. You know what I mean? And I feel like, and
Yeah.
I remember like a long time ago, and maybe this has changed because I haven't played the game in like at least 2 years at this point. But I do
Mhm.
remember a time when like, someone did this study or whatever, and it was like basically like your weakest link is like way way way, like if you had like a grandmaster player in your game and a bronze player in your game, like who affects the outcome way more, and it was like a huge margin was like the weakest player,
Interesting.
like the crappiest person, because it so heavily swung, like they dragged you down more than like it was basically it was saying that like it was really hard to heavy carry in Heroes,
Mhm.
which
Yeah.
kind of sucks, you know.
It's kind of like a weird paradoxical thing. Like, when you have a system where you actually have someone who can carry the team, it actually ends up being more strategic in a way. When you have like a shared pool of experience, there's no real like hard carry. So you're really dependent on each other to play, like
Hmm.
the entire team, as
Hmm.
opposed to like having one really strong player who can actually pull off some really cool plays that
Right.
can actually turn the tide. So it's like relying on fewer people in order to carry the match.
Yeah, I think another thing that I just didn't like, I don't really like about the game too as well, is that um like there was a time period in alpha and beta where the support character Lily, and she still has
Mhm.
this move, but she could actually like summon like this water dragon that when
Right.
it hit, it would like do damage, like splash damage AoE, and then also slow people down. And it was actually like really popular to play as an attack damage Lily, which is really
Mhm.
fun. And she was actually doing like as much damage as like assassins or other like damage roll type heroes. And Blizzard decided just to like straight up nerf that to the ground, to the point where
Mm.
like the dragon didn't do splash damage anymore. It did damage still, but it was very like nullified, and it was mostly like you just choose this talent because it slows people down and inflicts a little bit of damage, you know?
Right, right.
And I don't know, for me, like I feel like the talent system was really cool in Heroes because it's kind of like a skill tree and you can kind of pick and choose. And I thought the point of it was like, oh, you can pick and choose like what you want this character to be, but Blizzard was like,
Mhm.
okay, you can, but they're still confined to whatever role we dictate them as. So like
Sure.
you can play as Lily and you can choose to make her a CC support or a heal support, but at the end of the day she's still a support. And that kind of
Mhm.
sucks to me because, I like in other games like League how it's like Teemo could be a jungle or a top or a support. You know what I mean? Or
Right,
Annie
right.
can be a mid or be a support or be an AD carry, and you can kind of get a variety of like different builds for her as like
Mhm.
one character. Whereas in Heroes, they just don't allow you to do that because they're like, no, 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 a support can't do more damage than an actual you know what I mean? Than an
Right.
actual damage roll that we have. So I think that's kind of what also led me to just kind of like quit the game.
I mean, I kind of understand that. Like, why would like assassin characters or something like that exist if a support one can heal you but also do more damage than a DPS class?
Right.
So, I mean, I get that, but at the same time, like, I feel like there should have been better decisions made
Hmm.
because, like, one, if you just like pigeonhole your characters into like a certain role, like their support, they must heal, they must do some kind of shield or whatever. It it takes away from the builds that can come out just from naturally just playing them, like something that the devs did not expect.
Right. Yeah.
And that there's a lot of cool things that can happen when you allow the player base to discover these things.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes for a more rich environment. Sure, like, it makes balancing a lot more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it makes a way more difficult to just like create counters or anything like that because you just don't expect it.
Right.
So yes, I get that, but like there should have been more effort put in, I think,
Definitely.
into buffing rather than nerfing.
Mm. Yeah. What do you think could have saved that game, by the way? Do you think I think it just needed to come out earlier.
It needed to come out earlier. Um, I think there was a fair amount of hype around this game when it came out. I remember this. Like people, I thought they really enjoyed it. Right? I
Y-
mean, they had a pretty high following, right?
I think it was more of like they had a very vocal and loyal following. I don't know if they ever had
Mm,
a high following. I remember looking at this
yeah,
Twitch statistics for it and it was never like super up there.
yeah. I think yeah. So I don't even think putting the game out earlier would have helped because there were already so many games in that space.
Mhm.
Like you already had the original Dota, you had League, and you had Dota 2,
Mhm.
and like there were probably a couple others that had a market share, but I don't think that Blizzard is the heavy hitter that they were like back in early 2000s.
Right.
Like you like remember when World of Warcraft came out? There were plenty of MMOs.
Mhm.
There were just a ton of them. Dark Age Camelot, EverQuest, like super heavy hitters.
Mhm.
And Blizzard comes around with World of Warcraft and just absolutely demolishes everything.
Right, yeah.
So like I don't think Blizzard can do that anymore just because like there's just so many people ingrained into the games that they're competing against.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like League, like it's when Heroes came out, what was it, like 2015, 2016?
Mhm.
Like League had been
2015,
around
yeah.
yeah, League had been around for like 11 years at that point.
Right.
And people are not going to give up that game that they've been playing for years and years and years to pick up a new one.
Right.
So I think it was like even if they came out with Heroes like 5 years early, it probably wouldn't have helped.
Right.
It's
Uh
just
yeah.
people are just too ingrained.
Yeah, I think it came out too late and it came out at a time where I feel like kind of like what you said, it was like a peak of like League of Legends as well. Like I feel like it
Hmm.
came around like season 3, season 4 of uh like around season 3 or season 4 of
Hmm.
League of Legends, which was really like a peak. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
looking at a chart, by the way, of long-term stats from solinome.com as well, and it looks like the game when it was out, the peak average viewership it ever had at any given month was in May of 2017 when they did Heroes of the Storm 2.0, where they also
Mm.
had promotions from other people outside of just the usual people, and it says that it was only at like a 13,979 viewer average. That was its peak high
Wow.
and that's on average, like for the whole
Mm.
month. So I mean, it doesn't seem like it's ever been like super high up there. I mean, there might have been like a couple days where it was like pretty high, and then it just kind of fell off.
Right, right. Yeah, I
So
don't know.
yeah, I don't. I think they definitely like missed the mark when it came to like releasing this game. Like they should have released it like a lot earlier. I
Hmm.
agree with that. I think another thing, and this might just be my kind of take on it. I feel like they never should have like made it. They really should have never made it like competitive. You know what I mean? But the thing is, like, I feel like games nowadays, it's like hand in hand with the communities that they're built around that they become competitive. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've noticed that Blizzard has been pushing competitive esports quite a bit.
I
Like
feel like
starting
every
with
company has
Overwatch.
though.
Yeah, and it kind of goes back to Diablo and why that's not really popular and why it's being neglected is because it doesn't have an esports space.
Hmm.
So it's kind of like left to the side. Like, okay, you kind of multiplayer, but it's just like with friends and stuff like that. You can't really compete in it.
Right, but I think that's fine. Like, I don't
Oh
think that's
yeah,
bad. But for some reason, everyone's kind of in this like this whole like we have to do esports. You know what I mean?
right.
Like we have to get in it. And I feel honestly, I still think that a bubble is coming very soon. Like the bubble's gonna burst with esports very soon.
Hmm.
Because I don't think there is a way to make tons of money in this in esports. I feel like at like currently it's more of just like advertising your game.
Right.
You know what I
It's
mean?
really, really, yeah. It's super, super hard,
And
and it's
even
gonna
the
take a
return on
long
that
time.
is like debatable.
Right, because like it's not like traditional sports where you can just have someone, buy a ball and just play it, and
Hmm.
get people on board with it.
Right.
When you look at a game like I mean, not just Blizzard's games, but like any kind of esport, there is an incredibly steep learning curve.
Hmm.
Like if you just look at League, you're not going to get any kind of like new player into that easily.
Right.
It's it's a space where it's really, really difficult to grow and cultivate a fan base that
Hmm.
is willing to pay to go to events also.
Right.
Because why would I go to an event when I can just watch it on Twitch?
Yeah.
Like, why would I spend like the money to go all the way down there when it's the same experience sitting at home where I can just like, sit in my underwear and,
Uh, right.
and not care.
Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
it's I don't know, it doesn't feel right. And so it becomes this really weird space where you have real trouble getting live fans to, generate revenue. You have to like, you can't really sell all that merch because I mean, they're probably spending their money on merch in game on skins and
True.
whatnot.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree. It's hard to streamline it like traditional sports like you said too as well. Kind of like if I want to, like I can go out right now, go to Walmart, buy a basketball and just start playing basketball by myself if I wanted to and
yeah,
just practice. And then if I wanted to, call up one of my friends, call up you, "Hey, let's go play some basketball."
yeah,
Okay? Then if we want to, heck, maybe you, me and a few other guys, we want to play games every Thursday night together,
mhm,
kind of get a little competitive. Cool, we'll do that. Oh, we want to
yeah,
enter like a league nearby. Okay, let's do that. Like there's steps and
right,
gradual like streamlined processes to which we could like improve ourselves and keep going
right,
if we really wanted to, but you don't really see that
mhm.
in like esports. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
because like if you go out and play basketball or something like that, you can have fun with friends, even if you're like shooting really badly. You're still
Right.
running around laughing and having fun. If you're like in a ladder match or something like that in League, it's like a bunch of sweaties just like
Mhm.
pounding keys for an hour and cursing you out if you like miss a skill shot.
Right.
It's like it's the wrong kind of space. I mean, and even if you play ranked and you start off at like wood tier or whatever, you're still going to be matched with a bunch of Smurfs.
Mhm.
So you're never really playing for fun. You're always playing against someone who's better.
Right. And I think
And I
another thing
think,
too is just how like the competitive scene for a lot of games, it's really gone like corporate, and this is why I think the bubble's gonna burst soon. But I mean, with any big game like Fortnite or League or any type of competitive game, you don't really see any grassroots tournaments either. It's either these official
mhm,
tournaments from it's either the LCS or bust. Like yeah, they have a
yeah,
collegiate
yeah,
like tournament or whatever, but I can't just go down to like just like I said, like you can't just go down to your local like you know GameStop or esports land center. Like you can, but there's
exactly.
not many of them around. And
Right.
you know, just like say, hey, I want to enter like a local tournament or like just play a little bit competitively. Those are harder to find. This process isn't as streamlined. You have to use like a third party website or whatever.
Hmm.
And it's just not fun, man. It sucks. I really do
It
miss
really
the
isn't.
days of like esports where it was like I think some of the best Heroes of the Storm esports we went to, which we both went to and we didn't know each other, was the one that we went to that was like at esports arena.
Oh, really? Okay.
You know what I mean? We both
Yeah,
went to
yeah.
that, right?
I went to one. It was oh jeez, what year was it? Wait, was it the one in
It was
Burbank?
around my area.
Okay, I went to that one, but I can't remember. No, I went there for a Hearthstone thing, I think.
Oh, okay. Maybe it was a Hearthstone thing, but I mean, even that, like, I miss those type of small-ish tournaments that would
Oh
happen. You know what
yeah.
I mean? Those like grassroots, like kind of local feel type of like
Oh,
tournaments.
absolutely.
But you don't have that anymore with like even Overwatch, right? Like you don't see these like grassroots organizations where it's why I still love like Super Smash Brothers, because it's still like
Yeah.
there's no circuit. Like it would be great if they had a circuit. At the same time, it's great that they also have like community led things and people are still bringing their own
Right.
copies of the game and stuff like that. But
Right.
yeah,
Yeah. Like what happened to LAN parties?
yeah, really. Last
It's
LAN
like
party I had was like
that's
2 or 3 years ago actually, but it wasn't the same.
yeah.
It's different for sure.
Right. Right. You don't have that in person sort of feel. It's much different, you know.
Hmm.
And not only that, but like you said, like it reduces the amount of cost that actually goes into like creating a tournament and stuff like
Hmm.
that. It's much easier to have one when you have like when you play StarCraft with a bunch of local computers, then you have like an actual esports
Hmm. Hmm.
thing instead of having to go through the internet to look for a match or like creating some sort of tourney system through that. It's
Right.
just like the cost to actually implement something like that is just so much cheaper.
Right. But yeah, kind of on the same subject of just like esports or whatever. I don't know if you followed the news that happened this week in Super Smash Brothers Melee.
Well, I heard something
Okay.
about Pikachu, right?
Yeah, so
Okay.
basically, in Super Smash Brothers Melee, there's obviously a handful of characters that are considered meta defining, and Pikachu in Super Smash Brothers Melee is considered literally he's considered the scuffed fox. Basically, Fox is considered like tier 1 and Pikachu is considered like tier 3.
Hmm.
And Pikachu and Fox's moveset in Melee is pretty much exactly the same, except Fox can do everything better. So when it comes to like damage percent hits and stuff like that, it's just better. And pretty much there's a player who's on Tempo Storm named Axe, who's been for the last uh, 8 to 10 years been maining Pikachu as his main character. He's probably the best Pikachu player ever in the world. No one really plays Pikachu, and he won a major tournament with Pikachu this past weekend. First time ever in the history of Super Smash Brothers in 14 years that he
Nice.
beat that a Pikachu player has won. And it's pretty momentous because he took out like four he's considered anywhere between rank like 5 to 10 in the world.
Hmm.
But usually the top four players are usually the same four people usually, and he ended up taking out everyone.
Wow.
Everyone, all the
Impressive.
top players. So it wasn't a tournament. The reason it's considered a major when there's X amount of like pro players there or like top level players there, and
Hmm.
with Pikachu, he ended up winning and taking out all like the really good players with Pikachu, who's considered like a mid tier character, like not that
Wow.
good. And so it was a pretty momentous occasion. I'm pretty sure he cried on stream, which I would too. But it's the first time in history that yeah, like a Pikachu player has won a tournament, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah, like that's actually amazing. That's historic.
Yeah,
Like you will be remembered for a long time to come that you
yeah,
were the first Pikachu player
yeah. The
to win a
first like,
major tourney.
yep. So, I I don't know, man. It was pretty awesome, and it's things like that, and like this. So this tournament also is kind of special because it's called Smash Summit, and you have to get invited by the company, but then also at the same time, um, people can vote for you to get into the tournament, and they vote by paying money, so it's kind of pay to play, but it
Hmm.
helps raise the prize pool and stuff like that. And it's at this person's house in like Orange County, and it's just awesome. They just like play games like in between. Just do like really fun side tournaments with all the pros. They'll do tournaments where they have to each go through like every single character in Melee. Like when one dies, they have to go to the next character and continue and
Hmm.
stuff like that. Just really cool things like that. They play Mafia on stream. They do a bunch of like drinking contests or just like kind of messing around. And I really love those type of like, it's kind of like Seat Story Cup,
Yeah, I remember
those type
that.
of, video game tournaments where it's like, it just feels like just like I don't know,
Hmm.
less corporate, I guess you could say. We did have the Fortnite Pro Am this weekend, which is like really awesome to see. But I mean,
Yeah,
there's something about just like seeing a bunch of players like getting together, like playing video
yeah.
games, like doing their thing. I don't know.
I
I don't
mean,
know,
that's
man.
where the root of games came from. All this competitive thing. It
Yeah.
came from a split screen TV and playing in the same room together. Like, it was a grassroots thing. It was just like
Mhm.
something that you played with your friends, and you like always talk crap to each other. And like, that's what it is. That's where it
Right.
came from. I mean, I think that we've lost that,
Yeah. And
especially with these tournaments. Like, you see like the, I don't know, Fortnite Pro AM.
yeah.
Like, you miss out on that.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, man. I don't know. I love it. I feel bad for Smash players because this is like the highest tournament pool ever, and it was 50,000. Like that's chump change. You know what I mean?
It's
Like
crazy, isn't it?
like
Yeah.
even Evo still to this day just does it by prize pool entries. So I think even Evo was like only like $3,000 for first place. Like it was like chump. It's like chump change, and it's like
Oh my
you feel
god.
like you're just ripping off the players because you know they're getting like big advertisement bucks and stuff like
Oh
that.
jeez. Yeah.
But we'll end up seeing what happens. Kind of like a side note for anyone who doesn't know, I follow the Super Smash Bros. Melee scene pretty heavily. But if you guys didn't know, Super Smash Bros. Melee will not be at Evo this year. They decided to not have it because they're dumb, and I don't know. I think it's kind of lame. You know what I mean? I think it's one of the best fighting games ever, especially at a competitive level. I watch any other fighting game and it's boring to me. Like watching Street Fighter with like health bars, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
someone's
yeah.
at 5 health, like 5% health. Like what are they gonna do? Just block and hopefully get in there. But like you have like a Pikachu at 80 and you have a Fox at like 130. Like it's pretty exciting. Like that Fox
Mhm.
still has a very good chance of winning as long as he techs well and stuff. So if you guys didn't know, Jabali, who is the face of the emote Jabated, has been running tournaments for a long time. I actually knew of him before the Jabated emote, but he's the CEO of a game company called, or of a game organization called CEO, and they will be having a tournament the weekend of Evo. That's going
That's
to be
pretty
the biggest
cool.
Super Smash Bros. Melee tournament ever. And
Wow.
so that it will be really exciting. That's coming up in about a month. The thing I love about this tournament too, by the way, is the final stage for the last day is actually in a boxing ring. Like so they have the CRTVs and like the setups all there, right? In this boxing
Yeah,
ring.
yeah.
And then I find it really funny because like they actually do like WWE like walk-in entries, walk-in
Right, right.
entrances with all the players and stuff like that. And
Oh, that's funny.
there's been some pretty funny ones where like the lights dimmed and then all of a sudden like the lights reappear and some guy's got like the other player in a chokehold, like choking out his opponent, like pretending it. I don't know. It's really fun. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I feel like I feel like esports I feel like this with the traditional sports as well, but I feel like our culture has just gotten like to this point where like everyone's kind of scared to like almost just have fun. You know what
Hmm.
I mean? Like I even remember like when that incident happened, people were like complaining about it and stuff like that, where like the lights dimmed and it was like all hidden,
Mhm.
and then all of a sudden this guy was like choking out like this other guy. Like people complained about that. Like on the internet, and there was
Really?
like articles, yeah, because he was choking out like I don't want to get too political on this podcast, but he was choking out like a minority. So it became like this like Caucasian
Mm.
versus African American type of debate.
Oh, jeez.
You know what I mean? It's just like guys, they're just having fun. Like it doesn't have to be all professional. There can be a little smack talk. You know what I mean? Like
Right,
I
right.
don't know. That's video games, man. Like at the end of the day, like I don't know if you can ever change that. And I'm not saying like super toxic, like people telling you to like kill yourself or hurt yourself or
Yeah,
saying
nothing like
bad things about your
that.
mom or racial slurs or like swearing up and down every other word. But I'm saying like at the end of the day, like just like in sports or anything, like there has to be some type of smack talk. Like I don't understand this like very heavy censorship of
Yeah,
video games
exactly.
sometimes, you know?
Yeah, I remember hearing someone make a good point one day that it's about the stories that you have between players or
Hmm.
organizations, and you need that drama in order to make the space thrive.
Right.
And so you need that constant back and forth. You need people to have like a team that they want to fight for, they identify with. And
Right. And
so you have this
personalities
connection.
too.
Yeah.
Like strong
And
polarizing personalities, yeah.
exactly. And that's kind of like why a lot of streamers have the fan base that they do, is because they have these polarizing personalities
Yeah.
and people are drawn to that. So why not inject some of that into esports? No, of
Right.
course not, like don't go too far with it, but like,
Right, of course.
yeah, like having that personality injected into esports is what will give it life, and it
Hmm.
will give people something to identify with and
Yeah.
have fun with.
I think one of the hypest matches that I ever saw was 2014, 2015. There was a match in Super Smash Bros. Melee between Chillin' Dude and Leffen. And at the time, Leffen was a pretty new player to the scene. He's considered one of the best players, and Chillin' Dude has been a staple of the Smash scene forever. He's been there since the beginning, kind of hosted some of the first ever Smash Melee tournaments ever. And I remember they got into a beef on Twitter. And they just like, because basically Leffen was like, Chillin' Dude's washed up. The only reason why he has street cred is because he's been there since the beginning, but he's not a good player. He sucks. They both played Fox. Chillin' Dude was like, nah, you suck, dude. Like, respect your elders was basically like an infamous line now, but it's like, respect your elders. Like, don't step on me and stuff. And they ended up being like, okay, next major tournament, $2,000 money match, right? Best of 7. So basically, like, and it was awesome. And they actually set up the event for best of 7, but then they also said so here's the thing, also on top of that, they both used the same colored fox in Super Smash Brothers. So the other bet was that whoever lost had to forever relinquish their colors. So, tournament happens, it's like super hype. They smack talked each other. It was like getting really heated on Twitter. Leffen ended up just destroying Chillin' Dude 7-0. Absolutely destroying him. And now Chillin' cannot use his colors ever in any tournament ever. And like the Smash community, like the Smash community itself, since it regulates itself, is like, yeah, sorry, every event organizer was on board with it and has been since 2015. He can no longer use like his colors, which I think is like the green jacket fox or something.
Dang.
And then the infamous line after all, okay, so Chillin' Dude like smack talked him, like respect your elders. He made a rap diss song about him, all this type of stuff, like, and they asked him afterwards, like, what do you have to say? Like, you just got destroyed. And he just said, my B. And then walked off stage. So that's also been infamous. Where, like, anytime anyone sees him, they're like, my B.
My B.
And that's it. So, I mean, just stories like that are so... And that wasn't even, like, a main event tournament. Like, that wasn't even part of the tournament. Like, that was just, like, a side match thing that happened, like, kind of like a halftime show. In the tournament, and that also sprung other beefs from it as well. Mango ended up coming up and being like, nah, you're not going to disrespect my boy like that. If we meet in pools, I will put another $2,000 on the line and stuff like that. And it's just like, those type of stories are so cool.
Yeah.
And the trash talk before it and after it is great. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it shows the players have a passion.
Right. You don't normally get that with a lot of games. Like it's almost too clean. You don't get these sort of like grassroots game tournaments where like people are scrappy and they'll make side bets with each other and things like that. Like it makes for a good story. And that's another thing that people connect with, not just the personalities, but the fact that there's a story to be told. That you can tell people about.
I see a lot of my criticism, I think, comes from the Overwatch League sometimes, or part of it does. A lot of it being from like XQC, who I think is like a great streamer, and I really respect him for what he's done and stuff like that. But when he was in Overwatch League, he kind of, things happened during his career that I don't think were that controversial, but he got in trouble for it a lot because of, they basically got him on like not being professional in esports. I remember that one time his main character in Overwatch is Winston, or was at the time. And, when they were walking out into the crowd, he like came running down the crowd and kind of did like a barrel roll on the ground and pretended to be like a monkey. And like took off his shoes and like threw him into the crowd and stuff like that, and kind of like imitated like when Winston ults, like he gets all like King Kong like, right?
Sure.
And Blizzard hit him with a penalty, and they sat him out for 2 games because he didn't do a professional walkout. They said it was very unprofessional of him to do that, and it had racist undertones because he is a Caucasian male from Canada and he was imitating a monkey.
So I guess he can't do that, but his character can.
Yeah, but and it's weird because it's like, I feel like that's more racist to find racism in something that I initially was just like, it's just XQC imitating his character. You know what I mean? And it's weird. It's weird. It's just like things like that. And he eventually ended up being let go from Overwatch League. Like, I don't think he's allowed to compete in Overwatch League anymore, even though he's like a great player, because of like his professionalism. And I feel like that wasn't unprofessional in a sense. I just feel like he was just having fun. You know what I mean? And hyping up the
Yeah.
crowd and stuff like that. I don't think there was anything like wrong with what he did, but
Right.
I
Right.
feel like these big companies are like, no, that looks bad to sponsors now. That's not professional. We're trying to make this more of like the NFL or the NBA, which I kind of get, but man, there's gonna be some growing pains with esports if you're trying to change once again foundationally um a culture that kind of does these silly things for fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Totally.
know.
Like, yeah, it's gonna, yeah, definitely gonna be growing pains for sure.
Hmm.
Because, like, these are the kids that we are putting into these leagues. They're like, 16 to 20 years old.
Yeah.
They're not going to be ready to, be clean cut, prim and proper. They grew up with, like, talking crap to each other. They're not going to give that up right away.
Yeah. So we'll end up seeing. Anyway, I think moving on from the whole esports debacle and everything, I kind of wanted to talk about something that we didn't get to talk about last week. Doctor
Mhm.
Disrespect. So
Ooh,
we didn't talk about
spicy.
this last week during our E3 coverage or whatever, but let me tell you, it was covered. At least the bathroom was.
Jeez.
um, so
Oh.
if if you guys didn't, and I don't know, I have a hot take. I don't know if I have a hot take on this, but if you guys didn't know, Doctor Disrespect, who is a pretty popular streamer on Twitch TV, ended up getting in trouble because he did his first IRL stream, which, by the way, unfortunately, the VODs are gone because, spoiler alert, he's banned. But once the VODs do come back, they're probably going to be deleted, unfortunately, or edited in some way. I hope they're not, but it was probably one of the funniest IRL streams I've ever seen, um, from like a big streamer. Just like Doctor Disrespect, kind of like walking around and being true to his character and being true to his persona and kind of like disrespecting people or just kind of like messing with people. He had a camera crew. It was himself. He was mic'd up with the wireless mic, and then he had like a pretty extensive camera crew. I know some other IRL streamers were around when he was streaming, and they had some pretty nice equipment. It was
Mhm.
pretty legit, multiple cameras and stuff. But he was IRL streaming at E3, kind of walking around or whatever. And there was a couple times in this stream where he had to use the bathroom and take a bathroom break, and the cameras followed him into the bathroom and recorded the bathroom. Um, my hot take on it is, it sounds bad, but it's not as bad as I think it seems. Nothing was really shown, to be fair, from what I could tell from the clips or whatever. But he did do it
Mhm.
like 3 or 4 times, which I find is really bizarre. I think my concern also is, I don't understand why no one told him not to. Yes, I know some people. I knew that you're not supposed to record in a bathroom and stuff like that, but it might have just been a spur of the moment thing where he wasn't really thinking and he's kind of just like super hyped up or something like that. And like, here's the
Mhm.
thing: we all do stupid stuff when a camera's out. Like, anytime you're at like I've been to so many clubs and events and parties and stuff like that where like someone has a camera, I just do something stupid
Mhm.
like in front of the camera like an idiot because there's a camera out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if he was just not thinking or if he genuinely didn't know that he wasn't supposed to like record in the bathroom. To be fair, it was not as bad as it seems, in my opinion. Yes, it was bad. I'm not taking away from that, and it shouldn't be done or whatever. But it wasn't like anything super private or super personal beyond obviously being in a bathroom was shown, and it wasn't like they went up to people and were like talking to them in the bathroom. Yes, they were
Mhm.
recording. Yes, they were filming to a large amount of people. I should add, about 60,000 people. But it wasn't like they were going up to people in the urinals like, "Hey, what's up, man? How's it going?" and sticking a camera on their face. There's at least that. I get that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But he was banned, I believe, for 7 days, maybe 14 days. I'm not actually sure. There hasn't been an official release date on,
Yeah,
when
I'm
he
not really
was
sure.
banned. He claims that the only response he's had since then, by the way, is a few days after last episode, where the news broke. He basically said he fired his director. So if you guys don't know, he has a character in his stream called Alex, who's his director, and he quote unquote fired him. That's the only statement he's made or whatever
Mm.
about the whole thing. I think he's gonna make a joke out of it. I don't think he's gonna take it too seriously. Um,
Yeah.
I guess before we get Pixel's take on it, the last thing I kind of want to mention is, why didn't I don't understand, once again, if he genuinely didn't know or if he did regardless. I don't understand why no one told him he should not. Like after the first time, or maybe even the second time, Twitch is obviously at E3. E3 is probably obviously watching the convention because they sponsored him to come to E3. Someone should have went up to his cameraman, or dragged him aside. Because we haven't heard that this happened. Dragged him aside briefly, or dragged his cameraman, away, or somebody away that was with him, and be like, "Hey, man, you can't go into the bathrooms anymore. Like, please do not do that. That's not okay." And should have at least warned him. You know what I mean? But it seems like no one told him not to. He went into the bathroom like 3 to 4 times, I think, during the course of like a 2 to 3 hour stream.
I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just confused why no one. That's what I'm baffled about. I'm confused why no one came up to him and was like, "Hey, your partner manager, Twitch staff, no one came up to him and said, hey, by the way, I don't know if you know, but you shouldn't be doing this. This is not okay." E3 staff, Twitch staff, and anyone that was around him, even his own personal staff, maybe should have stepped in and said something. I don't know. I'm very confused about that, to be honest.
I mean, I think I have a guess as to why they didn't warn him or something like that. Is because, okay, so we all know that. I mean, we now know that filming in a bathroom is illegal. It's actually against California law to film inside a bathroom.
Right.
So, yeah, they may not have known that, but that doesn't really excuse them.
Right.
So it's hard to give that a pass. It's hard to say hey, let's give you a warning, don't do that again, because the evidence is right there. He's actually could be have a civil suit against him. And E3 would have some flack for that.
Right.
So telling him to stop probably would not have been a strong enough denouncing of that act.
Well, I still think he should have gotten punished, of course, but at least don't make it worse. You know what I mean? At least tell, you know what I mean? Hey, you shouldn't be stop, please stop doing that. You're already in trouble. This is what's going to happen. But we're trying to protect at this point, please don't make it worse. Hey, you shouldn't be doing this. I would have at least gone with that route at the least, if I saw that happening,
Maybe it was a knee-jerk reaction. Maybe it is I feel like that's something that could be very, very serious. Filming inside a bathroom, it could potentially be very, very bad. And so maybe they were like, oh crap, we really got to do something, and we really got to do it quick. It's instant. Take away your badge, ban your account. And I don't think there's anybody watching his channel at all times. Would there really be someone just sitting around watching Dr. Disrespect's channel just because he's sponsored?
I think
just
so.
Make sure that everything's okay.
I think there should be. I think whether there was or not, I think there definitely should be. I think if you have if you have a sponsored event or whatever, at least contracted by an outside company or whatever, they should probably be, at least somebody should be watching, because then there's no accountability, right? I want you to sponsor my mobile game. Here's the thing. Okay, go ahead and do it. Oh, you did it, cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna oversee that and see how you did, and I'm only gonna check after the fact. That's kind of, I don't know, that's kind of bad in my opinion. I would at least have one person there.
I don't know. Maybe I guess they trusted him too much.
Maybe, man. I don't know. It was weird. I just don't understand. There's so many questions I have that will never be answered for me.
So what I think actually probably took it over the edge was who was in frame while he was in the bathroom.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure by now, but there's this kid in the background.
Right. And one of the times he went to the bathroom, there was a kid for sure. There's yeah. I don't know how young he was, but
yeah, you could tell he was a kid. So that was probably what the straw, the nail in the coffin,
Right.
So that's kind of getting into an area where you just you cannot you just have to take action at that point. You just have to bring out the big guns and take action.
Yeah,
because there's no other response that is acceptable.
Right. I also don't understand why they didn't cut the stream sooner.
Yeah,
that was kind of weird. That was kind of weird to me too. The stream went on for another 3 to 4 hours, and he kept getting Like people kept memeing it and saying like, "Oh my gosh, here he goes again! Don't do it, dude!" Like you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it went for like 3 to 4 hours or whatever. Where it was like,
Oh,
why
do
didn't
you
this stream
remember?
just get cut earlier?
Yeah, like that goes with my theory that no one was watching. But
Yeah.
also, other people were memeing in that Twitch stream where you could like control that like Twitch staffer just like walking around the
Was
con
that before or after this incident happened? Was that before?
after.
Oh, okay.
So like he was just like walking around the con. People were like
Mhm.
controlling him, kind of like Twitch plays Pokemon, and
Right.
they're like making him go towards the bathroom.
Right. And
And
he didn't go in or something, right?
no, he didn't go. And they like flashed something on the screen, like saying access denied or something like that.
It's sad that they kind of memed that like right after they banned him and it was on an official like Twitch stream. Like, you know what I mean? That's kind of messed up.
Pretty messed up it is.
But
Yeah,
yeah.
like they had something prepared. Like it was kind of crazy, and
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, once again, I feel like he should have been banned. I'm not like saying that he shouldn't be or whatever. It could have been a lot worse. It still was bad, of course, but at least it wasn't a lot worse. I've seen a lot of other streams that we won't mention on various other streaming platforms that are a lot worse, right? We've seen that on
right.
YouTube streams and stuff. So, but I do, at the end of the day, just like those are all my questions. What the heck, like, what the heck were you guys doing when it came to just like monitoring the stream or just anyone? Like, there's so many like checkpoints, like checks and fails. You know what I mean? Like that just no one from his team, no one from E3, no one from Twitch.
Yeah.
Apparently, apparently, IRL stream or unlimited whatever live view sponsored the stream. Why didn't they say anything? I don't know. It's just a lot. It's just like there's like 5 or 6 groups I can think of right off the top of my head. They're like, what? What are you doing? What are you guys doing?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
What are you doing?
how
Come on.
many people were sponsored for E3? Like, how many streamers?
It was well. I'm curious about that too. I want to say at least like 4 to 5.
Oh, that's not too bad then.
Maybe more. I know a lot of people got in because they were Twitch streamers. I don't know exactly know if that means like sponsored or if they did it on their accord. I don't know how many, like to be honest, a lot of streamers like got access. A lot. Like every streamer I follow that like lives in the LA area region got free passes to go in. Now, how many of them were sponsored to actually like stream the event? I'm not sure. That I can't tell you, but I want to say maybe like 5, maybe at the most probably 10, but it was probably below that. But here's the thing too is that Dr. Disrespect streamed on the first day of E3 and the rest of them streamed the days after. So he was the first, you know what I mean? Like
he was the only one.
He was the only one that got banned, but obviously became like a meme in the rest of the other people's chats that I watched where it was like, I can't go there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, but I don't know, man. It's crazy, So I guess he's gone for like 14 days. Dude's never gonna stream IRL again. It was honestly though, like, so taking that aside, it was one of the best streams. Like, it was really funny. I wish that if you guys didn't see it, I wish that you did. Just some of the interactions were funny. Like, some guy walked past him and was like, "Hey, Doc, you're shorter than I thought." And like Doc like immediately like turned around and like walked up to the guy and like Doc's obviously like in his hair, his glasses, he has like the vest on. And if you guys didn't know, he's actually really 6'8", and he just like walks up to this guy. He's like, "What did you say?" And the guy's like, "Haha, man, dude, Doc, I'm joking. Hey, let me take like, can we get a picture?" And Doc just like walks past him. Like he's like, "I ain't gonna take a picture of someone who insults the 2-time." Like, he was totally in character.
Right.
Like the whole time or whatever. You know what I mean? Like when he went to the Fortnite booth, he had like water in his mouth. He's like, "Oh my god, Fortnite, this is so awesome!" And like he was just like roasting like Fortnite. Like it was just Dr. Disrespect being like Dr. Disrespect, but in IRL, and like he did not care. Right. It was really funny. It was a good stream beyond the bathroom stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean,
overall,
show,
that's for sure. Like I'm just amazed that he can stay in character for hours on end like that.
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't know either, man. But apparently, I don't know. Last take on the whole Doctor Disrespect controversy.
Last take. I mean, sure. Like, it sucks that like there's so many points of failure. That how many people like had a lapse in judgment to make this happen? It's kind of insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what can you do at this point? I feel like, you know, it was, I guess, appropriate. I think the punishment was appropriate. So.
Oh yeah, I definitely think the punishment was appropriate. You know, it is what it is. I'm glad that they didn't shy away just because it was like a bigger streamer or something like that. You kind of see that happening sometimes within the Twitch platform itself or whatever. So
Sure, yeah.
I'm glad it happened. I know that Doc will be okay coming out of this, and will probably still be chilling like after this or whatever. And it seems like he's already like memed it up too and stuff like that, like on multiple platforms or whatever. He even took a video like in the bathroom, like in his bathtub or something like that, like on Twitter or something like that.
Yeah, didn't he do that like a while back? He was like naked in his bathtub and he was streaming from it.
Yeah, like he was like just chilling. Like that guy just doesn't like he's gonna do what he do or whatever, and stuff like that. So but I kind of want to also add. Lastly, I kind of wanted to add to this whole thing, was that he did get his badge revoked. From E3. Badge. I don't know how long that is for, but he did get his badge revoked. There was no timeline on that type of thing.
That's a good question. I don't really know, like, because if you get your badge revoked, typically that's it's not just for like 1 year. It's like
I think it depends. I think it depends. It varies.
Depends, yeah. But yeah, it probably won't be very easy for him to get a badge next year.
I mean, that's if he even wants to go, to be fair. I think he only went because it was a sponsorship event. I don't know if he would have actually went.
You know what I imagine him actually being outside of E3 next year and like just like being himself outside the convention center.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so I mean, I can see him doing that.
Yeah, like that would have been like really, really funny or whatever. Like just him doing that. I mean, the thing was too, like leading up to E3, he was just watching every single like E3 event, like every other Twitch streamer was doing, and just roasting it the whole time. So like I don't know if he really cares to like actually like go back to E3, you know. Yeah. But yeah, there's no, like I said, there's no length of time that's been announced for how long that is. I mean, it's probably not going to be disclosed like publicly or whatever. For me personally, I've had like old coworkers and stuff actually get their badges like revoked for like various reasons or whatever. Nothing as bad as that, obviously. I think one of them was like they shared a badge with somebody and they got revoked for like a year. Or something like that. Like that type of stuff. So there are like different lengths of time and stuff like that when it comes to like this type of stuff. So I'm not really sure like how long it will be or whatever. But yeah, good luck to the Doc.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be fine.
Oh yeah, he'll definitely be fine. Anyway, unless there's anything else to talk about Pixel, I think that's I think we've almost hit the time limit on our podcast. Unless you have anything interesting to add.
Not really. I mean, I think we call it.
Cool, man. I think we'll definitely call it. Next week, we'll both be going to Star Wars Land and be reviewing it IRL. I wish. I still really want to go. It looks really cool.
I'll be there.
I'm
actually going to be there.
I know. I'm pretty jealous. Let me know how it is and spend like $50 million on Disney swag and merchandise for me.
Oh, I actually could.
I know. Anyway, guys, thanks for hanging out with us on the podcast as always. Before we go though, Pixel, where can they find you?
Well, you can find me down below, twitch.tv/pixel_pusher101.
Yep, we are definitely gonna squad stream eventually.
Eventually.
This week, if Pixel wants to, we should do auto chess. We should try it out.
Which one?
Dota Underlords is open beta this week.
Oh,
the Dota one, like the official Dota one.
Okay,
we should try it. Maybe you stream it. I don't know. And we squad stream. But
how would we even play that? Like, can we actually co-op that, or
you can't co-op it? You can just be in the same game with each other. We'd still verse each other.
Oh, okay.
But we both suck, so it's fine. Like, I'm not good at the game at all. Dota auto chess is it's pretty noob friendly. The Valve one.
Okay, cool.
But anyway, you can check him out on his Twitch, twitch.tv/pixel_pusher one. Wait, no. Yeah, yes, pixel_pusher 101. You can also follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch at Ryan Kubo, RYNKUBO, as well as check us out on our YouTube at Shigeos, that's SHIGEOS Twitch TV. But yeah, guys, until next Monday, we will catch you later. Take care, guys. Have a great week.
Oh, good. Have a good one, guys. See ya.
Later.